Kate Patello.
And I'm Leo Laporte, and I'm wearing tape on my pants. But I'm not going to tell you where, and I'm not going to tell you why. Let's just put it this way. Just moments before the show began, I discovered a rather large rent in my pants. That's Scott Harriet's been in the wardrobe room again.
He's jealous.
Get you, Scott.
He's just jealous.
Thanks for joining us. Coming up in today's show, but you know, people are going to now watch for the rest of the show to see if they can find.
Well, because it's a big secret and a big surprise that you kept to yourself so well that, you know.
Coming up in today, don't worry.
Pay no attention to that man with a hole in his pants.
Coming up in today's show, technology analyst Lynn One App is here to talk about something really important, microprocessor design and VLIW.
Well, good. I'm glad we can just bring up the level of the show just a little bit. Also, bringing it up even further, Macworld contributing editor Chris Breen is here to show us a full-feature MP3 player served up from a Mac.
How many times do you think Regis Philbin has actually done the show with a hole in his pants? But would he tell the world?
No. But Regis gets to sit in a chair for an hour. Hello.
Why, Regis is where he is today, and I'm... Then later, just plug it in and watch it work. It's an all-in-one DVD system on today's Fresh Gear.
Hey, before we talk about today's topic in the chat room, let's check out what happened yesterday. Our question, are weapons getting too smart? 27% say yes, 47% say no, and just because we put it there, 26% say... Lasers.
Our chat room topic today, ladies and gentlemen, would you buy a sensitive PC?
Tell us all about the sensitive PC.
I have no...
All right, it's a computer that makes faces. Now, they've got this disembodied
computer. Makes them or
computer
recognizes them?
It does both. Now, it makes, like, little frowny smiley faces and little frowny faces, and in theory, it can read the expression on your face and decide how you're feeling and what? I don't know, serve up your web pages faster because you look mad.
Now, if that works,
I don't know what
if it did that, I might buy it. But all it's going to do is going to slow things down while it's going, oh, I'm so sorry.
It's all about the AI. You know, it's all about trying to create a human-like AI. So let's actually ask it that way. How would you feel? How would you feel about buying a touchy-feely computer?
How about that? Does that help you? Or how about this? I don't know. I understand what they're trying to do. And down the road, at some point, computers are going to need to be
intelligent,
yes, responsive, act like a human, even if it's not a human. Because that's just going to be the way that it is in the world. And that might be in 10, 20, 30 years. So this kind of research makes sense in that context.
Sure.
It's not something you're going to buy tomorrow. It's not something you're going to buy in 10 years. It's probably way down the pipe.
Probably. And, of course, I'll also tell you, you know, I have friends and I have family and loved ones, and I have enough people in my life to worry about with their feelings. I prefer my computer non-sentient. Thank you very much. I don't want to have to worry if I'm kicking my computer off. You know, Kate, you haven't checked your email in 3 days. Do you know how that makes me feel?
No, get away from me.
I just can't be ignored, Kate. You got to check your email, Kate, and my hard drive hasn't been defragmented in 3 weeks. See what I'm saying?
I'm uncomfortable already.
I'm going to be in counseling with my computer by the time this is over. So tell us what you think. Take our web poll at thescreensavers.com, and while you're there, click on the TalkBack feature. Just because.
Why?
Because.
Okay. You can also
feel like clicking on the TalkBack feature.
You can also give us a call at the telephone 888-989-7879 or chat with us at chat.zdnet.com. Click on the Screensavers room.
Did you know, Leo, actually, I'm a robot.
You are?
Did you know that?
Are you a fembot?
I'm a fembot. And did you know So I'm doing a pretty good job of faking it, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
She's
all
broken.
Right. If you have a netcam you want to ask your question on the air, of course, the illustrious netcam Cineplex, click there. Take a peek. Let's see who's in there today taking your calls. People, psychic computer. Shannon, is your computer psychic?
She's a Palmer, you know. She's psychic herself. She knows all this stuff.
It's ESP, especially
Jennifer Mark loves her computer.
She loves her computer.
Loves her computer, yeah.
All right. Well, as you can see.
Oh, Jen, calm down.
Jen, your husband's going to be upset.
In there.
All right. And I don't know.
Remember, if you appear on the show via...
It's mysteriously
do you want me to start?
in my hair.
We'll just continue on as if nothing had happened.
Let's do that.
And if you want to appear on our show via Netcam...
Well, I'm not going to do the screensaver. I'll tape the tele. Oh, sorry.
Get in the chat room. And by the way, if you do get on, you're going to get that great magnet. By the way, here on the refrigerator, our magnet pick of the day, Jim at Beaver Cove. That's on Moosehead Lake in Beaver Cove, Maine. And the temp was minus 36 degrees at the time of exposure. That's 36 below zero.
Negative 36 degrees. Do you say minus? Do you really? When you're talking about negative numbers, do you say it's minus 20?
Yeah. What do you say?
I always say negative 20.
Oh, is minus wrong?
Well, I don't know. Probably not, but technically in algebra, you get whacked over the head if you say minus 20.
You do?
It's got to be negative 20.
Wow.
It's negative 20. You too can get your picture on our fridge. Positive 20. Just send it to screensavers@ZDTV.com. Make fridge picture.
Maybe that's
the subject line. What is the Jethro line? I done graduated from the 6th grade. Math is hard. Let's go shopping and talk to John, who's joining us on the ZDTV Netcam network from Plymouth, Massachusetts. Hi, John.
Hi, Kate. Hi, Leo. How you doing?
We're
very
great.
well,
How are you,
thank
John?
How are you?
Great. Hey, did I understand you to say you were going to rent your pants, Leo?
He already did.
I will rent my pants to anyone.
I'm renting his pants.
No, I have a rent in my pants.
Oh, okay.
He was doing karate kicks before the show and just, you know how
I'm sure it happened to Elvis all the time. What can we do for you, John?
Okay, I've got a problem with the system configuration utility.
Yes.
Items keep reappearing and doubling up on me.
I hate it when that happens. Which items specifically?
The virus scan.
Okay, that's normal.
You'll see it multiple times?
Yeah. Let me show you what he's talking about.
There are different kinds of virus scan, right? Is it talking about loading your auto protect and running a virus scan and loading your email virus check?
Yep.
Well, it's multiples of VSH Win32EXE.
It might be, yeah. Let me show you what's going on here. This is what he's talking about, the system configuration utility. That's what we always are talking about when we say go to the start menu and type run msconfig. This is what comes up. It's in Windows 98 only. And you know, it's funny, every time we talk about a great thing like this, what happens is people get more information about their computer, and it freaks them out.
Right.
And I don't blame you. I'm glad you're asking the question, but sometimes knowledge is a bad thing. Here's what happens. This startup collates information from all the different places it can start up. Your registry, your system ini, your WinINI, and your autoexec.bat and config.sys. So you could, if something starts up in several places, have several entries here. An antivirus is a classic one for that because think about it. Your antivirus probably has a line in your autoexec.bat.
Sure.
And what you should look at is it does have the same exe, but you should look at the parameters, what follows the slash. Those may well be different. And a lot of it has to do with when it's running, too. So your antivirus runs in your autoexec.bat and scans the hard drive. Then Windows starts. It runs again to load AutoProtect in the system tray. It runs again, as you said,
to protect your email.
For your email check. That's 3 runs. That's not abnormal in the msconfig. If you're seeing, now, I'm not going to say it's always okay to have multiple entries. There are some things that should not have multiple entries. But one of them is viruses. Tweak UI usually has or may have more than one entry because it does different things. For instance, Tweak UI loads to log you into the network. That's one time it loads. Then it loads again for the system tray after it logs you into the network. So it's not unusual for applications to do that. But it is unusual. Remember we had the caller who had several runs with blank things? It can be a symptom of bad things, like a Trojan horse or something in there. So, or some messed up thing. Is it just your antivirus that's doing that?
Yeah, looking it over, that's all it is. It's doing it. Yeah.
And then I think you're fine.
Yeah. And you're using which antivirus?
McAfee.
I should have recognized it from when you told me the application.
McAfee VSH. Yeah.
So you might check and see. I believe McAfee does do, in fact, that DOS scan and then does the system tray. So.
And have you at any point uninstalled it and reinstalled it? Because I've found occasionally that if you uninstall something, it leaves a tag in here.
Unchecked.
And if you reinstall it, then you have 2.
Right.
And it stays. So that's another thing. That's not broken. Nothing really wrong with it, but it's still in there.
One thing about McAfee, and this is for your own protection. Many antiviruses do this. McAfee is one of the worst. It doesn't let you disable it. Because why? Well, if an antivirus came along and said, I'm going to disable that, if a virus came along and said, I'm going to disable that antivirus, it would prevent that, right? So it's a little sticky, maybe a little stickier than it ought to be. So that may also be if you've unchecked it and then you say, hey, it's checked again, that's why.
Okay.
Great.
The only way to truly disable an antivirus is to uninstall it or to use its own disabling mechanism as opposed to do this. Because this is something a virus could do.
Yeah, and it's still got a million other things in there telling it to hold on tight. So, all right, John?
Makes sense. Thanks a lot, guys.
Good luck,
care,
sir.
John. Thanks
Have
for
a good
watching.
night.
You too. Hey, after the break, we're going to have more of your calls. We're going to have some tough computer questions.
And I'm going to rent my pants.
That too. When the screensavers continues. And maybe we'll help you with your computer too.
Maybe. Screensavers.com is the best place for more information about what's on this show. Have you subscribed to the Screensavers show notes yet? You get all the details for every live call we take on the program, special links from my fingers to your inbox. And I'll be writing those show notes right after the show tonight. Subscribe now at thescreensavers.com.
Did you just a second ago say the screensavers?
Sabers.
Sabers!
Ah! James joins us on the phone from Escanaba, Michigan. Hello, James.
Hello, James.
Yeah.
Yo.
How are you?
How are you?
Where's Escanaba?
It's in the upper part of Michigan.
Ah, you're up by Canada, eh?
Kind of.
Kinda.
I'm sure you've never heard that before there.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I ask is we're going to be going back to Detroit.
Will you come to Escanaba?
Sure.
Well, I think we're going to Flint.
How far is
Detroit.
How far is Escanaba from Detroit?
It's like 7 or 8 hours.
No sweat. Kate and I, we'll grab the Mustang. We'll head up.
Yeah,
We'll probably be there about 2, 3 in the morning. We'll just have a little coffee. We could talk.
Go through your house, eat your groceries.
It'll be fun.
You know. Yeah,
Okay,
you can
you
sleep
can
on the
do
couch,
that.
right?
You got any bacon?
Yeah, we got bacon.
Okay, well, you have to make sure you have bacon because, you know, wood smoked.
I'm there.
All right, you know.
Okay.
What's the
Okay.
question, sir?
You promise, don't you?
Yeah,
I
you
do not
promised.
promise. It's a serving suggestion. What's the question?
I have a Mac, and I was just watching you on Call for Help,
Yes?
and I want to know if there's a firewall for a Mac.
Isn't that a great question?
We talk about Zone Alarm a lot on Windows, which is this wonderful free firewall that people can download. And James, you're not the only one. I've gotten this question a lot in my email, and I'm glad you called and asked because I want to tell the world. There are commercial Mac firewall products, but there's really nothing out there for you.
Now, why?
I
don't get it. Like, why can't you have a software firewall?
It's not because the Mac isn't susceptible to the same kinds of attacks the PC is. Absolutely it is. In fact, there was a horrible bug in Open Transport, which has since been fixed, that allowed the Mac to be an accomplice in denial of service attacks like the ones that happened at Yahoo and eBay the other week.
If you're running TCP/IP on an open chip,
you're open.
You're going to be at risk.
Everybody's open. It's a little different, of course, and somebody would have to actively probe them for, look for Mac. Actually, they would be the same probe. I mean,
same ports,
you wouldn't look
right?
for port 139 because that's NetBIOS, but you would look for some other similar ports.
21. 80.
There are ports on the Macintosh. You have 21 for an FTP server. You'd have different ways of exploiting that. So it's not that the Mac is safe. What it is that the Mac operating system, I'm sorry to say, is kind of antiquated. Because it doesn't have protected memory, because it doesn't do preemptive multitasking, it's much harder to write an effective firewall in that environment. When OS X comes out, I am sure there will be a Mac firewall for OS X. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised at all, and I would hope Apple would do this, that there is actually a hook in it or an API for firewalls. Because I think that that's going to be almost universal. Windows 2000, for instance, has a firewall API, so it's very easy to write a firewall for Windows 2000. It's actually set up to do that, and I'm sure OS X, I bet you anything, somebody's working in Cupertino right now to put that kind of technology in.
It must be.
OS X comes out this summer. Or if you're running AIX or a Linux for a Mac or AUX, any of the Mac Unix variants, you also can do firewall. But there is a solution for you. I'm not going to leave you in the lurch, James.
Okay.
It's just not going to be free, and it's not going to be software. It's a hardware firewall. You can use exactly the same hardware firewalls that PC folks use. And these
expensive.
Well, this is $159 street price. It's not free, but that's fairly cheap. This is from a company called Linksys. This just came out, and Patrick Norton's going to bring it by next week and give us his review. But I can tell you from preliminary 2 weeks. All right, 2 weeks from today. I can tell you from preliminary results that this is a really good solution. Works on the Mac because all it is it plugs into your cable modem or your DSL modem. It's not for dial-up.
Oh, are you a dial-up?
Yeah, I'm a dial-up.
Okay,
this is for a network.
I'm going to do it for you.
This is for a network, but any network hardware firewall solution will work on a Mac. This actually is good because it doesn't require PC software. That's the reason I chose it. It's configurable from a web browser, so that means any computer can configure it.
Cool.
No, if you're on a modem, you're out of luck.
Is there anything you can do to protect himself then? What can you do? If you can't run a firewall, you're on a dial-up. What? I mean,
not that I know. I can think of. In the old days when Apple's used Apple Talk, local talk, not TCP/IP, your network was a little bit safer. But now you're using TCP/IP. You're on a network. No, I mean basically, James, you're protected to the extent that the Apple also has less virus attacks.
Right.
It's not as common a platform. It's not as commonly attacked, but it doesn't mean you're safe. The truth is, I'm not of the opinion that everybody has to be panicky about this stuff. I wouldn't worry about it, okay? Especially on a dial-up, I wouldn't worry about it. And down the road, when OS X comes out, expect good firewall software. Steve Gibson told me today on Call for Help, and I think I agree with him, that eventually all operating systems will have firewall software built in.
Sure.
That's the way to do it.
Sure,
it's the best way to do it, and that's how it should happen. All right, folks, thanks, James, for the call. We appreciate it. We'll see you in Escanaba. Meanwhile, Kate, we'll see you in the chat room. She's coming your way, chat room. Coming up next, Macworld contributing editor Chris Breen is here to show you how to serve MP3s on your Macintosh wirelessly. Send MP3s to the whole house when the Screensavers continues. It's time for our weekly alternative segment, a neat tip or trick about an alternative operating system or device, a.k.a. not Microsoft Windows. This week we're showing you how to serve MP3s on your Macintosh wirelessly, and I'm going to do this. I love this. To help us with a tip from Macworld Magazine, Chris Breen. Good to see you, Chris.
Good to be here.
You're not hurt when I said that the Macintosh OS is a little old-fashioned.
I'm not getting the mail. You're getting the mail.
But, you know, it is true. I mean, let's face it, and that's why OS 10 is long-awaited. It's much anticipated, and it's going to be great.
OS 10 is going to be
I'm very excited about it.
Yeah.
And I love Mac OS. I'm not criticizing it. We're still looking, seeing if we can find any Mac firewall software, but I just don't think there's a whole lot out there, if any. So let's talk about what hardware we need to do this, okay?
Okay, we need, we're going to start with the desktop machine.
This is where our MP3s are going to live.
Right, the scenario is...
Because we have a big hard drive here.
We've got a huge hard drive here.
Okay.
This is upstairs in your office.
This is like a file server.
Right, file server. Downstairs, you've got your stereo.
Right.
This is going to be sitting on top of your stereo. Here's your remote computer.
I love it. But it's not just that. If you had an iBook, too, and with headphones, you could be walking around in the backyard listening to tunes and stuff, too.
Sure.
So this is great.
iBook holster.
We do have a wireless network running, right?
Our wireless network is through Airport, which is Apple's wireless technology. This is an Airport-based station here.
I love this, though. You have the older G3 PowerBook, so there's no Airport card for it.
Right.
Doesn't mean you're out of luck. What is this?
This is a Lucent card. This is a Waveland card.
Okay.
It is exactly the same card that's inside here. If you were to open this up, you would find a Waveland Silver card.
And this is a Waveland Silver?
This is a Waveland, actually this is a Waveland Gold, same card.
How much, what's the difference to silver and gold?
Different encryption, that's all, 128-bit.
So silver's fine?
Oh, yeah.
And how much is the silver card for a PC or a Mac?
It's about $149.
So it's not, that's very reasonable.
Yeah, very reasonable.
And we're talking now, this is 802.11.
Yes.
803.11 B, which is high speed.
High speed. Theoretically, 11 megabits a second.
11 megabits, that's good.
Theoretically.
Oh. What's practical?
Realistically?
What's the actual?
4 to 5.
Really? That much slower? Okay, so it's less than half. But that's still fast.
Oh, yeah.
And is it fast enough to play MP3s like over the network?
Yes, and it's fast enough to play games over the network.
So I'm not going to copy the MP3 to the laptop before I play it?
No, this is how we do it.
Okay.
What we're doing is we've encoded the MP3s on a desktop Mac.
We have, in fact, a playlist.
Yeah, we've got a playlist here.
This is SoundJam, right?
SoundJam MP from Cassidy and Green.
Okay.
It's a ripper. It's a player. It does everything. It's
That's
wonderful.
like the one for the Mac.
Yeah, it's a great piece of
So this is our Chris's song playlist. Now, I'm not going to actually transfer the songs down to the computer. I'm going to do something different, right?
Yeah. What you would have done is you would have mounted the PowerBook
Here's
on
the PowerBook hard drive.
Right, we've mounted it there.
Okay, over the network.
Okay, so once that's copied
I'm
over...
going to drag Chris's songs over. This is the playlist that actually dragged to you. So now the playlist, not the songs, but the playlist is over here.
Playlist is over here now.
Okay.
So the idea is that we then mount this hard drive on the PowerBook. So we've gone into the chooser, we've mounted the hard drive, so it appears here.
Just as this was visible here, now this is visible there.
Here, right.
Now, why do we do that?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to launch the playlist.
Right.
And if this doesn't see the path back to the encoded files, it won't play. It will send up a message saying, I don't know.
If I have a shortcut, will it auto-mount the...
Yeah.
It will. So all I really need is a shortcut to this.
Right.
And then it'll say, oh, it's a shortcut. And
right. You type in your password, or if you're a guest, you don't need a password.
Right. Okay. So now let's play an MP3.
We'll play an MP3 here.
So this is, in effect, streaming over the network down from here. And then this is, you said on my stereo?
Well, in my pocket here.
Oh, you didn't tell me there was something in your pocket.
One more part.
Okay, this, I get it. You don't even have to tell me about how this works. Tell me how this works.
Okay, this goes into your PowerBook.
Yeah.
That's the audio out.
So this is the mini plug.
Mini plug audio out, and the other two are for your stereo. So you put that into an auxiliary in on your amplifier.
Are you actually doing this?
Yeah, I've got this at home. I've got it set up.
This is great.
So if you drive within 150 feet of my house and you know the password, you can listen to what I'm listening to.
That's why the encryption is important, isn't it? Yeah, okay. But 56K is plenty good.
Yeah, it's fine.
This is getting served off. Now, if there's a lot of traffic on the network, will that slow down my music?
You can do some things in the background, but if you've got like a disk optimizer or a virus utility or something that's working with the hard drive
over a network.
Yeah, a lot of times you don't. But if I have a lot of activity on this machine or on this machine, every once in a while you hear a little burp.
Well, that's normal.
But it's not bad. This thing works remarkably well.
Well, if you think about it, this MP3, high quality MP3, 128,000 bits per second. That's nowhere near the 4 or 5 million bits per second that this network is capable of. So there's plenty of bandwidth.
Yeah, and the nice thing is that I don't have to fill up my PowerBook with gigabyte upon gigabyte of MP3 files. I've got a huge hard drive in here. I've got 11 hours and a half
You have an orb
music.
on your Mac, don't you?
Yeah, I've got an orb on one single orb drive. I've got 11.5 hours of music. I'm streaming from my
that's cool.
into my stereo.
Nice Mac tip. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Chris, for showing us how to do it. I want to try this. If you want to find out more about setting up a wireless Macintosh MP3 server, I guess it applies to any wireless server actually on the Mac, or any past alternative, visit our website. It's at thescreensavers.com. And, of course, Chris Green does great stuff. You can check him out at Macworld Magazine or macworld.com.
Right.
Thank you, Chris.
You bet.
Don't start flipping, folks. Still to come on this here television program, a report from the wars over the design for your next processor. Also, much more of your toughest computer questions and their answers. Plus, an all-in-one, ready to go. Just plug it in and watch it work. DVD system. All that more as the Screensavers rolls on. Welcome back to the Screensavers. I'm Leo Laporte.
Okay, but hello now, Steffi. Now, can I do it now? Thank you, Stephanie. She's like, don't go until I say, can I go now? Welcome back to the show.
Today in the chat room, would you... there she is.
She's going to beat me up now.
Would you buy a sensitive PC?
A sensitive PC, the touchy-feely PC. Yes, there is, of course, the disembodied robotic head that smiles, that frowns, that looks sad,
like
that
a bad
pouts.
idea. I had a friend who bought a Macintosh in the early days of the Mac. He took it back and bought a Windows machine because he didn't like the little smiley face for the Mac first. Some people are like extreme. That doesn't bother me.
Oh, that is just
That doesn't
silly.
bother me. But some people really, they say it's a utilitarian device. I don't want any happiness emerging from this box.
It's not a happy box. It's a
It's
tool.
a tool.
You know, I mean, would you want a hammer to smile at you? I would find that very disturbing. And I'd also feel bad about banging it on a nail. Sorry, dude.
I think we do have a different relationship with our computers than we do with hammers and cars. Maybe not cars, but certainly with... Don't you think? I have a little bit of a relationship with my computer.
So there you go. Take the web poll, will you please? Will you please? Will you, for crying out loud, take the web poll, screensavers.com. Click on TalkBack, you know?
And you can also chat with us, chat.zdnet.com.
Right.
Real quickly, we found a Macintosh firewall.
No kidding.
Yes, thanks to David Prager. It's called, what's it called, David?
It's called Doorstop.
Doorstop, $59, and it's available at, is it doorstop.com?
Let's see.
We'll put the link in the show notes.
That's funny. Usually I think of doorstop as a very derogatory term when associated with computers. Do you not?
Oh, that's a good point. But I think what they're saying is they'll stop bad guys
stop
at the door.
But it just makes me think, you know, maybe your firewall's not so great. Maybe it's only good for a doorstop.
Now, we haven't tried it, and as far as we can tell, this is one of the few, at least affordable ones. They're corporate level ones.
That's
but we haven't tried it, so we're not saying it's good or bad. But hey, $59 is not
The
that
company's called Open Door Networks.
Open Door, that's right. So is it Open Door?
Open Door Networks is the company.
What's the URL?
Is called Doorstop. It's at opendoor.com.
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 Thank you. Good research, David.
Thanks,
That's why you're in the Nook.
Service for you.
Jeff joins us on the ZDTV NetCam network from Fredericksburg, Virginia. Hello, Jeff.
Hello, Jeff. I'm tossing you a magnet, Jeff. Here we go. 1, 2.
One of our super friends. So,
nice catch, Simon. Wow, I flung that all the way.
Simon caught it before it got to you, Jeff. I'm sorry. He snagged that right out of the air.
Who's playing keep away with the magnet? That was rude, Simon.
What can we do for you, Jeff?
I was looking through my newspaper today, and I noticed a thing called namezero.com.
Mm-hmm.
And it said it would register your domain name for you for free, and you just have a little advertisement at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that seems like a good deal.
Pretty cool.
If you guys knew anything about it.
Well,
Kate knows all about it.
I looked it up here. Name0. Now, I have the URL up right here if you want to take a peek.
Namezero.com.
Namezero.com. It is pretty much works like NetZero. Yes, it is free to register your domain name. However, in order to do so, you have to give them personal demographic information about yourself, which some people just don't want to do, and I don't blame you if you don't. But hey, the thing's free. You also have to download their own portal site and their own portal and use that. So you have to work from their portal, you have to deal with ad banners, same as you do with NetZero, and you do have to agree to give them personal information about yourself, which they will release to third-party vendors. So you have to be, really, if it's going to be free, you have to be willing to give up a certain amount of privacy, because the only way they're going to give you something for free is for marketing and demographic purposes, to go with the ads. That's how they're supporting themselves and can afford to give you a free domain name.
Now, one of the nice things about this, while they will host your site, they don't require that you host your site with them. They'll redirect your site to any other host.
Free.
And you know, if you think about it, this isn't that far-fetched. NetZero is replacing a service that costs $20 a month by putting banner ads on your screen.
And that's worth about that to the company.
This is worth $35 a year, so it's a considerably lower amount of money. So it doesn't seem that unreasonable that somebody would come along. So you can have your website anywhere. They will redirect to it if you want. I mean, actually, they'll have to, since they're the ones who know your URL, I guess. And then you have to put a little button on your site that says namezero.com.
I'm sure you do.
Okay.
I'm sure you do.
And this is the weird part. Your personal browsing now, you have to look at their ads.
Yeah, you have to be through the browser. Again, NetZero, NameZero, you just have to be willing to give some info about yourself out and work through banners and deal with spam.
Seems reasonable, Jeff. Are you going to try that?
Yeah, I'll just lie on the little information thing.
Yeah, why not?
You know.
Yeah, just don't tell anyone about that.
Keep it a secret when you do that.
Yeah.
By the way, if you do that, will you let us know how it works out for you?
Oh, yeah, sure.
I'll be very curious.
Me too.
So then we can tell people whether it's a good thing or not.
Yes. Don't tell them your age, though. Oh, wait. You have to be 18 to get the free. Are you 18 yet?
Stinks.
Actually, it's been on there if you have a parent's permission.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Oh, that's
otherwise,
appropriate. I think that's appropriate.
That's entirely appropriate. Okay. Very, very good. All right, so let us know how it goes, okay?
All right, no problem. Thank you.
And now, will you do something, since we've helped you do something for free, will you do something for us for free?
Well, I guess so.
Set us free. You guess so. Set us free. Take us to break.
Thanks, Kate and Leo. According to a report from Jim Louderback, it doesn't have to be a chore to watch DVD. See how to do it when the screensavers continue.
Very, very nice. Now you can take the phone away from your face and give us a big grin for your last 5 seconds of fame. There you go. And your nice irons back there. For more information about what's on this here show. Folks, it's your last chance to earn your Chip Speed Merit Badge, you Geek Scout, by taking this week's Super Geek Challenge, all about the speed of your computer, at thescreensavers.com.
Congratulations to Jeff from Abilene, Texas.
Abilene.
The winner of yesterday's Super Geek Quiz T-shirt or cap giveaway.
Congratulations. Make sure you fill out the form after you've taken the quiz, of course, because if you don't, we can't send you any free stuff. As promised, here's Jim Louderback with a couple of all-in-one DVD systems on today's Press Key.
DVD is great, but it really shines when you can take advantage of its surround sound capabilities. Unfortunately, that means more costly components to add to your entertainment center. But we found 2 all-in-one DVD systems that make home theater a little easier and a lot less expensive.
This is Sony's DVD Dream system, and it packs all kinds of great stuff into one component system. It's got a DVD player and a CD player, too, so you can play your CD audio, an AM/FM tuner inside, as well as pass-through for your VCR, so you can listen to that as well. Now, for speakers, 5 speakers, 1 subwoofer, a 5.1 speaker system comes with it, too, and Dolby Digital and DTS surround sound playback, so it sounds good, especially on those DVDs. That's a lot of stuff in one small, really good-sounding package.
And at $600, this is a great deal. The Dream System DAV S300 also accepts input from your VCR, your cable box, or satellite receiver. As for audio quality, the Dream System sounds good, but we would like to see a little more volume when it's cranked up. The sound field effects, audio processing that emulates different environments, were really just grainy reproductions. All the speaker connections on the back are color-coded to match each speaker, so setup was a snap. The biggest trouble we had was figuring out all the buttons on the remote. The surround sound settings took a little time too, but the on-screen setup was helpful. This system is an awesome, affordable way to build an instant home theater. Just add a TV. We give the Sony DVD Dream System 5 out of 5 stars. It'll cost $600 and will be available this spring.
If you already have surround sound speakers or an old 2-channel stereo that you want to recycle, that's where this unit from Sensory Science comes in handy. Now, it's a DVD player that will play your CDs, but you can also hook your VCR up to it, and you can take that old stereo and take the tape monitor out ports and run them into the aux. So you can put them all into one unit, and then because this is also an amplifier, hook your speakers up to it. You can get everything going through one place.
The Go Video Power 3 DVD amplified a little bit better than the Sony, but it still could pack a little bit more of a punch. Now, regular CD playback sounded a little bit better than the Sony too, but setup wasn't nearly as fast as the Dream system. The Go Video is aimed at consumers already familiar with home theater components. This system does not include a radio tuner or an amp for a subwoofer, and at almost twice the size, it lacks the sleek look and feel of the Sony. We give the Go Video Power 3 DVD from Sensory Science 3 out of 5 stars. It costs $500 and is available now.
And new fresh gear for you every weekend afternoon at 12:30 Eastern on ZDTV, which will be right here.
Right here. This is it.
That's
This is the place. Michael joins us on the phone from Winter Springs, Florida. Hi, Michael.
Hiya, Michael.
I was wondering what the front side bus is for a computer.
Do you know what a bus is?
What it does?
Yeah, do you know what a bus is?
No. Just wondering what it does.
Conversational channel between components.
Give me a motherboard.
You guys can actually bring that
Don't
over.
fight over it. Just give it to me.
Roger and Stephanie are like, no, me. Thanks, guys.
The data on a computer goes along a data bus. Okay,
Yeah.
that's just it's like you said, it's a channel. It's a way that data moves. For instance, on this motherboard, this is where the processor sits. Okay, these are the PCI cards. These are the ISA cards. This is the AGP slot. So data is moving from all of these slots around on a bus. Now, there's two kind of buses on a PC these days. The front side bus is the channel from the processor to RAM. Okay, here's the RAM slots. That's the front side bus. And actually, because of the speed of this bus, it also impacts the speed of the PCI bridge. And there's a backside bus, which is from the processor to its L2 cache. In the case of this motherboard, which is a Pentium 2 slot 1 motherboard, that backside bus is actually on the Pentium 2 cartridge. Okay, that's the one that runs at 1/2 the speed of the processor. The front side bus on this motherboard, it's a PA2L97. It's probably 100 megahertz, but they can be 60, 66, 100, or 133 in common configurations of PCs that you'd be using these days. So the reason that comes up probably is that most often is an overclocking, right? Because you can, if you're putting an Celeron in this motherboard that is clocked at, let's say, 366 megahertz, it's intended for running on a 66 megahertz front side bus, often called an FSB, and the multiplier on the chip is 5.5, which gives you 366 megahertz on the processor.
All right.
If you wanted to overclock that, you can't change the 5.5 multiplier.
So you have
They're
to
clock
change
locked.
the bus.
You change the FSB speed, the front side bus speed. And actually on this motherboard, there's little jumpers. You can't really see them very well here and here for changing those speeds. I think this is the FSB speed.
So you bring that up to 100 and get a 550.
Very clever.
Hey!
Because 100 times 5.5 is 550.
All right.
So that's how you would overclock a 366 Celeron.
All right, thanks.
Hey, thanks for the call.
You're
I
welcome.
love the show and watch it every day.
Yeah?
Thanks.
Been taping it.
How old are you?
12.
Yeah?
Well, how long have you been using computers?
Couple years. Started programming yesterday.
Programming?
Yesterday. Did you say yesterday?
Well, I wrote my first program yesterday.
Yes!
Oh, what's it do?
It just brings up DOS and says, hello,
Hey, that's cool.
That's cool. Little batch file you wrote for yourself, or how'd you write it?
C++.
Wow, that's very
Excellent.
good.
So it's a little hello world kind of program.
How are you learning?
I bought a book down at the store and just been reading.
Which book?
Teach yourself C in 24 hours.
That's the Sam's one, isn't it? That's the one that comes with the compiler?
Yeah, it comes with Borland, so
That's a great
worked
deal
out great.
because it's like $50. You get the book and you get the compiler. I mean,
$30 it went down.
30.
30?
Oh, that's great.
Sweet.
Good for you. You're going places. Hey, thank you for calling.
All right, man.
Anytime you got a question, you call me, Jeff, all right?
Okay, when I was 12, I was such a dork.
You weren't
I
writing
wasn't-
C++
Oh,
programs?
heck no. I was playing with
wait a minute.
Barbies and
You were
playing
doing a little
fun.
basic programming then, weren't you?
When I was 12,
You might have been.
maybe a teeny tiny
You
bit.
probably did a Hello World around that time, 12 or 14.
No, that's when I did the Hello Kate 20, 10 print,
Right,
hi Kate 20,
right.
go to 10, run.
Right. When I was 12, we were still learning about wheels.
Do they have them yet?
No.
I didn't
Kate's, it was the latest thing.
Okay.
Kate's off to chat once again, and when we return, we're going to answer this email from Yandal in Detroit, Michigan. He says, is the new architecture in Intel's Merced backward compatible with x86 software? What advantage or disadvantage does this technology have over Transmeta's Crusoe chip? Next generation processors with today's software when the screensavers continue. Got an email from Yandal in Detroit who wants to know about the newest Merced chip and how its compatibility is and whether it's like Caruso and all that stuff. You know what? This is the kind of thing we need an expert to answer this question. We thought no one better than Lindley Gwenapp. He's the founder of the Lindley Group and a contributor to the Microprocessor Report. And, we've had you on talking about microprocessors before. One of the few people who really has the global vision. Thank you. Global Village. That's a modem, I think. Thanks for coming by, Lindley.
Glad to be here.
Now, the key word in all of this is, and I'm going to say it, VLIW. Very long instruction word. This is a new technology, kind of follows from RISC and CISC, right? Mm-hmm. What is VLIW?
Well, what it is it's a way to put several instructions into the processor at once. All of the old RISC and CISC technology design one instruction at a time goes into the processor.
So by doing multiple instructions, we speed up the processor by that much. Now, I thought, though, pipeline superscalar architecture did multiple instructions at the same time. How is this different from that?
That's right. And in fact, all the processors today are trying to execute multiple instructions at the same time for performance.
Right.
But because they're coming in one at a time, then the processor has to do all this work to arrange and group them to try to do it. What VLIW says is, hey, let the compiler do all that work. We'll do it once. We'll do it up front. We'll do it very efficiently. And then just stuff those groups of instructions into the processor.
That makes a lot of sense because the compiler knows more about the program globally. It can look at the whole program. It kind of has a better idea of what's going on. Plus, it has the leisure to chew it a long time and to really figure out what the best optimizations. So Intel, along with releasing Itanium, which is the Merced's real commercial name, right, has a brand new compiler technology, right?
That's right. So there's new compilers that are required for VLIW, right, and of course this now makes the compiler have to work a lot harder.
Right.
But
in the long run, it makes sense. Do the work up front,
exactly,
not by the processor. But does that mean new compiler, new architecture, we're not going to be able to run our old software?
Now this is where the Intel has this trick of putting an x86 processor decoder right on the Itanium chip next to the IA64 one.
So they're able now to get the die sizes so big, and of course the process is 0.18 micron.
Right, yeah.
So it's so small they can get a lot of transistors on there. A little extra real estate means
that's right.
An
They
x86.
can actually fit a whole IA64 processor on plus this x86 unit.
How well does it run? Does it run as well as a Pentium 3?
Probably not. I mean, they haven't really released any benchmarks. So what Intel said is that if you just want to run your old x86 applications, you don't want an Itanium chip, just use their standard PC processor.
And it stands to reason if you're going to go out and buy a new Itanium computer, which will be, sometime around third quarter this year.
That's right.
It's not going to come with Windows 98 on it.
No, of course not. So it's going to have a new operating system. There'll be new software
You'll need
available.
new software.
That's right. And there's a lot of vendors working right now to develop and test that new software.
There'll be a Windows 2000 for it?
Microsoft is releasing a 64-bit Windows 2000 at the same time as Itanium. There's going to be a Linux port.
In fact, the Linux port, I've heard, is ready. It's it's out there, right?
Certainly the code is out there. I think they're still, testing it and making sure it all works. But you can go and log on today and look at that code.
Linux would have a little advantage here because a lot of its source code comes in, programs come in source code form, not compiled, so you can recompile it and get it running pretty quickly.
That's right. So all of these Linux applications are built to go easily from platform to platform.
All right, now we're going to move along to Transmeta, this Crusoe chip, also VLIW, but they're doing it a little bit differently, aren't they? How does that work?
Yeah, the difference here is that Crusoe does execute all the x86 applications, all your standard PC apps, but they're recompiled sort of just in time before it runs on the processor.
So I don't change the binary. I still run my Windows 98 binary. I don't have to recompile that, but the processor has this code morphing software in between it and the operating system that's translating as it goes.
That's right. So what they call this code morphing software is really just a compiler, but instead of forcing the application vendor to recompile their application, they do it themselves right on the spot.
Now, the disadvantage, I'm guessing, is because you don't have the leisure to really think about it, you're not going to be as optimized, right?
That's right. So this code morphing software is probably not going to do as good a job, but it is fully compatible. We're waiting. Transmeta hasn't really released their performance numbers either, so we're still waiting to see that.
When they were here, they said, we're not going to run as fast as native x86, but the kinds of platforms we're going on, portables, notebooks, don't need that performance. These aren't workstations. These aren't servers. And what they get from VLIW is not so much the improved speed, but these are lower power chips. They're easier to design, right?
Right. The idea is that the VLIW engine is more efficient.
Right.
So it can deliver.
Like RISC. That was kind of the benefit of RISC, right?
So now this is just the next step beyond RISC.
Right. Okay. So in a way, it is a simplified processor.
Right. So you try to make the processor more simple, make the compiler more complicated.
Makes perfect sense. We will see Crusoe's out in samples now. I guess Itanium is also out in samples.
That's
is that right? And so we're expecting Itanium computers on the market, as I said, third quarter, but they're not going to be desktop machines.
No, certainly not right away. I mean, we're going to see workstations and big servers. That's really the Itanium market. Intel has another chip called Willamette that's coming out later this year that's really going to take over in the PC market.
That's kind of an updated x86
That's just
chip.
Pure x86, none of this VLIW stuff.
Last question. Will Itanium ever be on the desktop, or is it really not that kind of a processor?
I think if VLIW has all of these efficiencies that we're expecting that it will come down into the PC market someday, just like Pentium Pro started off being very expensive, came down into the PC market.
It was a server only.
That's right.
Well, is it going to be affordable? I mean, is it going to be a affordable computer?
Again, not at first, but there's no reason why, say, 2 or 3 years from now, that same technology couldn't come down into a $2,000 PC.
See, this is why we have you on, Lindley, because you make it all so clear. Thank you very much. Great job. Now I understand all. We appreciate your stopping by.
Surely.
All right. Now, folks, why don't you record and send us a video email? We want to see your mug on this show. Instructions, scripts, everything you need waiting at thescreensavers.com. Click on Interact. It's just that simple. Charles, it's your turn to take us to break, please.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Don't touch that dial. Kate and Leo will be right back when the Screensavers continues.
welcome back to the Screensaver. Take a peek up there on your screen for the preliminary results of today's poll. So far, 74% of you now. It's changed a little bit. Say, heck no, I don't want a sensitive computer. I like my computers to be made of metal, and that's about it. Well, you've got 24 hours to beg to differ at screensavers.com. While you're there, of course, click on the talkback, just because you can. Oh, by the way, in the chat room, for Javed, who was named after his cousin Javed, who is in the hospital. He wanted us to say hello to his cousin in the hospital.
Hi, Cousin Javed.
Hi, Cousin Javed.
Get better.
Please feel better. Okay.
Yeah. Nobody should be in the hospital.
No.
It's a bad thing.
Right.
Nick Ents Joe. Unless they work there.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point.
Oh, boy.
Nick Ents Joe. Nick, you know what? Even if you work there, you shouldn't be there. You should be out enjoying the fresh air. Nick.
Well, when you go to the hospital and there's no one there to help you because they followed your advice.
Okay, never mind.
Okay.
Nick Ents Joe. What kind of name is that?
Nickens? Nickens Joe.
Just so you don't feel too terribly old, Leo, I do remember this saying, Great Caesar's Ghost!
I do, actually.
It's back from the classic 60s TV show Superman with the original Jim Reeves. The editor, I know, at the Daily Planet used to exclaim it whenever something was wrong. His name?
His name? What?
His name was?
That I don't remember.
Harry White.
Harry White, right. Harry White. See, I knew that.
I knew that. Harry.
Right. I knew all about that. Okay.
You have a question, or shall I read another one?
Fun one?
I'll read another one. In your article about Linux distributions, you say Red Hat only supplies you with programs that help with installation. I hope I didn't say that. If it is, that's an editing error. I don't think that's quite true. RPM isn't, no, I think he misunderstood. RPM isn't Caldera Open Linux. That's right. That's because it's based on Debian. Debian and Red Hat both use the RPM file format, although there are differences. And they have a program called Lizards and Lisa for installing. Yeah, Caldera has a very good installer. In fact, I would say pretty much every distribution has an installer.
Some installer.
Of some kind.
Jay wants to know what the deal is with CDRs. If there's one for music and one for data, no, it's just the format that you burn.
It's a different format.
It's a different format.
There's Redbook audio and there's data CD.
Yep.
But you can't. Oh, I know what he's talking about.
What is he talking about?
Philips recorders use a different format. You do have to use the special CDRs for those.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, that's it for this edition of the Screensavers. I'm Leo Laporte.
I'm Kate Patel. Thanks for joining us. See you next time on Screensavers.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.
He's talking about.
Goodbye.
He's talking about the.